Hello and welcome back to SWAN Pricing Show.
Hello.
My name is Philip Fujic, I'm a pricing mentor.
I am Philip Zolota, business mentor.
Today we want to talk about, well, a misconception, which is that when you're in a situation where you have to prove your value, your expertise, the main thing that you want to do is answer questions, right? You want to see what their questions are, and then you answer them, and then they know your value. Um, no.
Who would say?
Funny, but no. I mean, sure, yes, you can't leave them with any answers whatsoever, and you can be seen as avoiding answers. However, that's not going to help you most. What will help you the most is questions, because this is from an article that I wrote recently on LinkedIn. Demonstrating value is not about simply shooting out answers like ChatGPT, right? That has never been the most attractive quality of somebody who knows a lot. So talking very fast about stuff that people can't possibly comprehend, even if you're completely right. But now with ChatGPT in people's consciousness for a couple of years, that is seen as even more even less of a valuable trait, I think. Right?
Yeah.
So what's the first answer that you ask, Philip?
Sorry?
What's the first answer that what's the first question that you ask?
The first question I'm asking. Generally, when we are talking about some global potential collaboration,
Yeah.
generally speaking about their goals and existing state, because I always love to compare how they perceive themselves at the time being and what is the big picture overall, and definitely navigating all those discrepancies in between, which often are a specific case. And there, yeah, that is maybe something around which I'm starting overall discussion. Practically, I want to define and found out what are their perceived challenges they're facing with, and from that point we are moving on slightly and resolving other things. Yeah.
I do something similar. I ask them what the ideal
Mm-hmm.
result would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, what would make you be really happy with what happened? So, in a
Yeah. It is
uh,
also it's very similar
yeah,
as the outline. Yeah, if they can picture and paint the picture of their desired state, from there you can easily navigate towards the relevant information, at least valuable to you, so you can dig deeper and dive deeper with them. Yeah.
yeah, and so the pushback that I usually get for this is, but they want my answers. Your late answers, yes, but late answers as in once we made a deal and they paid me and I'm there and I talk to all of the people and I have all of the data and I have all of the knowledge and then I sit down and crunch it and find the answers. And yes, they want those answers. However, we are not there yet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's
Um,
not that you are setting up the paywall. The point is, and what is important
no.
for the audience, that you don't want to give prescription before the exam. And that's the point, because professionals act and do stuff that way, not just throwing out the answers and solutions without actually understanding nor knowing the true state.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you ask them stuff and then you say, aha, but you have to pay me to get the answer. No. So it's just um briefs are very rarely complete, uh, to say the
Absolutely.
least.
Absolutely.
Um, and when you ask questions, you can show expertise without bragging. So it's easier on your ego and on their ego for you to say, right. And what happens when X turns out to be true, right? If that happened, or did you plan for this? And this wasn't a part of their brief because they weren't thinking about it. Oh yeah, that that could easily happen. That has happened to them before. Maybe in another company that they worked, or in a friend's company. So they know this happens. They just didn't think about it, right? And that shows off that you know about this market, that you know about what happens, um, without you saying, "Aha, I got an award for." Yeah, we all know with awards, right?
Exactly.
Some of them are more award worthy than others. Um, so, and for anybody who tried it in a business to business environment, it's fairly hard to brag without being completely cringe. Um, So it's easier to ask a question and show that you know, than provide an answer with leaky data without trust, right? They don't trust you yet. You haven't signed any NDAs. You can
Yeah.
ask about stuff, and much easier without needing all that. Because for true answers, you need true information, and they're not giving you that yet. Because they don't trust you yet. So at the beginning, there's this chicken and egg problem with answers, right? Because they would like to hire, they want to see if they would like to hire you based on your answers, and this is genuinely their idea, but it's a bad one because they don't know exactly what they needed. They don't know how to pose questions, and your answers can either be general or banal or something that GPT
Yeah.
would tell them, um, or they can be true and detailed and they can't understand it. They have no grounds to, right? So there's slippery stuff all over. And if they don't see you as somebody who understands because of they can understand the answer, then they don't hire you. So it's it's a bad snake eating its own tail kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the way to win that game is to not uh, is to not play at all. Is to simply show your expertise with questions, right? And it also allows you to show that you care. Um, because, you know, if people really want to be unkind towards solos and in small agencies, they will say, "Oh, you're mercenaries," you know? Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and sure, I've seen freelancers in general saying, "So, okay, what do you want me to do?" That. Okay, cool. Here, pay me.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't what you needed. Cool. Pay me to do something else. What do you want now? Here, pay me. Oh, that didn't work either. Ha, that's too bad. Want to pay for something else? No? You want to try this game with somebody else? Okay, cool. Uh, that's not caring. And people who don't care, they don't ask questions. Why would they? Because if they do ask questions, then you clarify and you make it more and more their responsibility. If you're dictating everything as a client, then it's all your responsibilities. My hands just did what your mouth said we should.
Yeah.
I kind of knew that wasn't what you needed, but hey, you know, yeah. Um, because otherwise, I mean, you can say we care, but and that's
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah. That's one thing. And actually caring and showing that with your action, that's something completely else.
Yes. Yeah. Talk is cheap, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And we did talk about the needs wants needs iceberg, which is specific
Yeah.
for what we like to call in this show the SWAN pricing case, right?
Hmm.
Services based on expertise that clients think they want one thing, they actually need something completely
Yeah.
different. And here with questions, you can uncover that more quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly.
could you give me an example of a real problem hiding behind a symptom that the client only saw the symptom?
Yeah, yeah, very, very interesting stuff with one client from the tech sector. The company was constantly struggling, for example, with the high qualified leads and business opportunities overall. And they perceive their primary challenge. We don't have enough number of high quality leads and similar. The point was they had a completely broken system. So they didn't do so. They were practically, as a bunch of experts are actually doing, and we already go through that in some of our previous shows. They're just giving away their knowledge for the promise of maybe. So they were throwing in the client's face golden nuggets and waiting for the client to understand how valuable that is. And the client
Exactly.
in the next stage will be answering absolutely yeah and signing the contract. Point was that they were doing it constantly. It was a complete mistake. While they had to set up an entire system which will be navigating their clients towards the paid consultancy sessions where they can dive deep, understand the problem, positioning themselves as the authority, the advisor, and from that point on, it is much more easier to navigate forward. And that is something what when they have established the system simply was starting to moving forward adequately, and they were receiving even less amount of leads, but conversion rate in that respectable manner was booming, skyrocketing,
Imagine
simply
if you
with
just
lack of the system and the approach, because they in the end they had a shitload of leads, they were jumping on the calls, blah blah blah. Everything was perceived as potential without clear boundaries nor the structure to choose the ones who are actually truly qualified from those who are there to pick up some proposal, tip skating, and similar regular business activities happening in the business world. So,
yes. Imagine if you just did what they asked you to, and then you got paid, you got
yeah,
yours, and then they got left holding the bag, which they asked for. But
yeah.
um,
Just think about the case. You already have a shitload of bad opportunities and leads, double, triple, or quadruple the amount. So companies actually they're stuck doing nothing, only managing the RFPs without any new closed deals. Yeah, it will be an awesome experience. Absolutely.
so that's my next point. If you do ask questions, and most other people that they talk to don't, the questions will help you stand out. So maybe all of you know your jobs well enough to know how to answer the question. However, asking the right questions, that is harder to do. It requires a higher area of expertise, and it will help you stand out. And also, when people ask me, okay, so a client comes to me and I want to do value-based pricing. We talked about this many times before. So they want to do value-based pricing. So how do I shift the conversation to that, right? Because they want me to do X. They
Mm.
expect me to be paid by the hour. How do I shift the conversation? Basically, by asking questions. Um, it's it's much easier when you poke holes into the idea that they came there with the full knowledge of everything that needs to be done. So here's the list, do it.
Hmm.
Tell me how. So tell me how much for you to solve this list. And when you poke holes in it by asking innocent, constructive questions, then it's is much clearer that this is not what needs to be done if they want
Yeah.
what they want for the transformation for the end goal to be. And then it's much easier to, let's say, help them co-create the clarity,
Yeah.
right? And they like it. They never forget co-creating that clarity, not being told as a, this unemployed professor uh,
Mm-hmm.
style of a person in front of them. I didn't tell them what to do. I helped them come to the conclusion that it wouldn't make any sense for me to be paid like I was sweeping their office. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
more per hour, but in the same way because
Yeah.
I'm productive in completely different ways, right? So uh, two more things that I wanted to say, and as always, I'm interested in any example that you may have.
Mm-hmm.
So, questions are the steering wheel. They let you keep control of the conversation. And how does it look when you lose control of the conversation? Sales conversation in general. Basically, they sit down and they say, "How much?" And now you don't know enough data, so you have to, guess and sweat and ask them for the budget, and then they won't give it to you. And then you develop a mind virus, and oh, how much can I get away with? No, no. When you ask the questions, you dictate when stuff happens. And especially, and we talked about this, you
Mm-hmm.
need to control when the question of money comes into
Yeah.
the whole conversation and exactly how, right? So I think overall that the questions should have a more prominent place in your mind when you talk to a client than answers. Answers are super, answers are necessary, but I don't think they're the main dish there. People think they came for answers. They didn't because they don't know the question yet anyway. Neither maybe do you, but maybe they should. Maybe they should first invest in analysis. I mentioned you the other day as somebody who does paid analysis.
Mm-hmm.
In a
Mm-hmm.
very competitive market when people say, "Oh, it's impossible, nobody would pay that." What do you say to nobody would pay a paid analysis in marketing, Philip?
Awesome question. It is absolutely possible. Yeah, yeah. It's what is cool that it's pretty much straightforward, and in the end, I can say even the easy. It's not about the authority being an arrogant, hostile, and similar. It's having, forming, and enforcing the system and the approach. So,
Yeah.
uh, if you have the true professional and experienced person on the other side, the clients, they'll be understanding and respecting the process because they're also buying not the service only, but the value you can generate and create with them, co-create
Mhm.
with them, but also the system and the experience. So it is pretty much straightforward. The problem happens where a majority of expertise businesses are actually trying to do something almost every time the same every step of the way. So they don't have a clear picture, nor the approach, nor the system. In the end, if there is some specific challenge with the process, you can explain them how things work. What is the roadmap? And it is pretty much straightforward, especially focusing not on the what we'll be doing, but what is the actual outcome. For example, what we have in all my business verticals, not only in the marketing agency activities, is the paid workshop. It goes all the way in every business vertical, and it's pretty much straightforward. And people understand it. Okay, yeah, we understand. You cannot give us the concept, the idea, whatever, if you don't understand the business. It's the business audit. we need to dig deeper, understand the process so we can do anything. And also depends on the specific case we are facing with on the other side, because the thing people are presenting you is more often than not very different from the actual state. And as you mentioned today, in the earlier stage of the conversation, you need to speak with a bunch of people, not only the CEO, because his perception and the perception of chief operating officer or project manager is definitely not the same. You need to aggregate the data, understand the challenges and problems, and then you can dive deeper in truly helping and supporting and navigating towards the optimization and forever or for which service you are being employed to do. And it's pretty much straightforward.
Yes. I would just like to illustrate a point, right? So
Mm-hmm.
your modus operandi, your agency always does that, right? Uh, as a rule, you get paid for analysis first, right? And it's a competitive industry. There's hundreds of thousands of firms of similar size
Yep.
to yours, not like with clients like yours, but with similar size like yours. I recently saw your stats on LinkedIn. So
Mm-hmm.
would you please state for the record, as they say, how many meetings have you had in the year of the Lord 2024?
Yeah, it was 1,000, I think, 516 meetings. Yeah, in the year. Yeah, it
So
was 2,867 hours and 15 minutes overall. Yeah, I remember the numbers because I'm a visual guy, so I remember the
because you're
process.
nuts. Anyway, uh, you could say that there is probably at least a moderate amount of clients who are completely fine with the idea of somebody doing marketing, but with paid analysis first,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Um, just ask. Congrats, man. Anyway,
Thanks.
I think we can slowly wrap up here for today. I just wanted to had the need to illustrate how something in the background, like the ratio of questions to answers, can play a big role in showing how valuable you are and showing your difference to others and revealing the problem and driving toward the idea that you should be paid on value and not on hours, and in general let you steer the control of the conversation, because something that I think many people, many swans listening to us have a problem with is they are in full control when they're talking about their craft.
Yeah.
So you ask them about any kind of specific thing, and they can show you the paper trail and the calculations and the everything, everything. But as soon as we start to talk about, okay, so how much? Now they let all of the initiative um, to the client, and that costs money.
Yeah.
That costs money. A client recently said, how whatever price I give, they say, oh, that greatly offends me, or something like that. Yeah, of course. I would say that all the time if I got 2,000 euros discount each time that I said it. That's a really, powerful sentence. Offended by what? Exactly.
Or
So
even asking to be paid for anything, because the nature of business to do gladly and free of charge everything what you are doing. You are awesome, awesome, awesome.
so I mean,
Nice, nice.
uh, okay. So yeah. He said I never really thought about strategic incentives of it. I thought it was emotional. Mostly, it's not. There's nothing to be emotional about it.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
offered to sell you something at a certain price. Oh, I'm very offended you did that. I can say no and walk away. Why should I be offended? So I mean, there's a couple of items that I can think of that could be offensive if somebody offered to me, but professional services, no, not so much. No.
Yeah, yeah. Immediately picture in my head. You go to the bar, you ask for a cup of tea or coffee, whatever. Oh, so rude. With the Jar Jar Stone responding back to the bartender. Oh, I'm offended.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So people, I think we're done. Where can people find you, man?
People can find me on LinkedIn and on my business mentorship page, philipzalata.com.
So for me, it's fearless-pricing .com and LinkedIn. I just started making articles, one a week. I think I have three of them right now. Yeah. Check the other monitor. Uh, Happy to have had this conversation and see you next time.
See ya.